In today's episode, Chef Kendra will show us how to make her delicious kosher citrus cedar plank salmon using Prairie Street Prime's kosher salmon fillet.
Oh my gosh, the citrus cedar plank salmon, total winner. Welcome to the Prairie Street Prime Culinary Kitchen. I'm your chef, Chef Kendra, and I am so excited to be introducing to you this gorgeous piece of fish. It is part of Prairie Street Prime's new luxury kosher fish line. This is Prairie Street Prime's amazing salmon. We also will be having Chilean sea bass, branzini, and tuna steaks. Amazing. Today I'm going to be doing a citrus cedar plank salmon. So cedar plank, I'll show you how I soaked it, but I have to prep this fish first. Because of the different shape of it, you can see it kind of has like this, it's larger up here, it's thinner down here. It's going to be different cook times. I want everything to cook at about as close to the same rate as humanly possible. So I also want it to fit on my cedar plank. So I'm going to trim it up to be that size, and then we can get going with it. I'm not just going to be wasting fish. Obviously, I don't waste food, but this white part here is not exactly the most desirable piece of the fish. In fact, when it does cook, it's a little too oily, so we don't want that to hinder the flavoring of the fish. So let's give it a little trim. I'm going to remove here. I'm going to cut this up nicely. Cut off some of this up here. See how it's shaping up so nicely, and then just going to take off it up there. Beautiful. So when I'm ready, it'll fit just about perfectly on my board. All right, so our amazing salmon is all trimmed up. Let's talk about this cedar plank. Why are we using cedar planks? Several reasons. One, you can use it either in the oven, which is what I'm going to be doing today, or you can use it on your grill over an indirect heat. Indirect just means that there's no flame underneath. It is indirectly being heated because the flames are on other sides of the grill, okay? First thing, that's number one. Number two, it is almost a foolproof way to cook fish. This piece sits on here, cooks perfectly in there. If you're doing it on the grill, the skin gets stuck, the salmon gets stuck, don't even worry about it. Put it on the plank. It'll impart, number three, a very nice, light, steamy, smoky flavor to it. Nice and sweet, but nothing too overpowering. We're not smoking the fish, we're just cooking it on a wood plank. So, now moving into, but how does one use a cedar plank? I shall show you. For about 30 minutes to an hour, you're going to soak and submerge your cedar planks fully underwater, okay? So these have been soaking. I already took the plates off of them just to weight them down. I'm going to take out my wood plank, dry it off, and now I'm going to take this and actually put it into the oven for about 10 minutes or so, okay? Perfect. While that's going, just a couple of other things to point out. They do come in different sizes. So if you're feeding a family, maybe you want the larger piece. This is also a pretty big piece of salmon, so it's gonna fit onto it nicely. If it's just a couple of you, or you wanna like give your guests individual boards, do it. They have smaller pieces as well. It's a really beautiful presentation. So let's let that go, and then we're gonna start playing with our fish. All right. The citrus cedar plank salmon. We've talked about trimming. We've talked about the cedar planks. Now let's get our hands on this beautiful piece of fish. I'm going to show you how to do it in a couple of different ways. One way is like the quick and, it's just a couple of us for dinner. We want to keep it nice and easy. The other way, I'm going to teach you how I like to skin the fish. So I'm going to give it a nice cut right here. So this piece right here, I'm going to give it a nice little score. Foop, 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 foop. this way. And I flip it over and score the skin side too. Perfect. All right, that's gonna be my smaller piece. Now my larger piece, I'm gonna season them the same exact way. I'm just gonna show you how to do this. Okay. Now here's how I like to skin the fish. You do not have to do this, but if you feel like kicking it up a notch, be my guest. I make about an inch incision right here at the end, but I don't go down to the skin. I want to basically give myself a handle, okay? So then I'm going to take my knife, nice sharp, longer blade knife, and I'm going to gently draw my knife as I pull tight the skin underneath. Now these are really, really sharp blades, so I'm just trying to be careful to not go through the skin. So having an extra sharp knife, I really love using these Wusthof knives, is totally the way to go. You also want a really sharp knife because A, it's safer to have a really sharp knife, and B, you're not hacking away at the meat. You can make really nice, clean incisions. This is coming out perfectly. Okay, good, almost there. It's a big baby. Pull it nice and tight. And we are almost through it. There we go. Okay. Put that aside. All right. Now, so my boards have just a couple more minutes. It gives me just enough time to set up a little bit of my mixture that I'm going to be using for these. So I have my bowl. I'm going to use plenty of fresh dill and fresh parsley, nice amount. Just a bit of garlic. So I have finely chopped garlic here. Garlic is going to go a long way, and I really don't want it to overpower the fish. I just want enough to dress it nicely. So I'll put that right in. Lovely. Some finely chopped capers. Again, really strong flavor. I don't want it to overpower. And then my favorite, lemon zest. All right, olive oil. Just a little bit. Remember, this is already a fatty fish. We don't have to over olive oil things. And plus, we're gonna add a little bit of oil to the board when they come out. Okay, we'll mix it up. Now, my capers in here are already salty, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of kosher salt to this, just a tad, and then some ground black pepper. I'm gonna add a nice little spoonful onto this one, and I'm actually going to make sure it gets right down there into those slots that I made. Okay, I'll put the rest of the seasoning on this big one. Smooth it out here. This is also nice enough too that you can make some extra of this sauce and have it for the side. It's really good to dress onto vegetables also. All right, so my boards are ready. I'm gonna take them out, season them up, get the salmon on and put it back in. It's my large board for this guy. This one I'm gonna show you how to season. It's really fun. Okay, so if you notice here, it's very slight, but the board has actually arced a little bit. That's totally natural from the heat, but I'm gonna use that to my advantage. I'm gonna flip it, and now it's gonna hold the salmon and all those delicious flavors and juices. So let me show you how to season this up. I'm gonna take some olive oil, all on here. I'm actually gonna take my clean rag here that I have and just work it into the surface. Just a little bit. I'm going to use some salt and pepper. And the olive oil is nice too because it actually helps everything to stick to it. Okay. Some oregano, just a little bit. Again, all of this is really complementary to what I put on top. And now I'm gonna use some sumac. So sumac is actually a berry that's been ground, but it has this really beautiful floral and citrus flavor to it. Perfect for the citrus salmon. Sprinkle that on. And then a little bit more lemon zest, why not? Excellent, let's get them on. Take it underneath, right on to the board. Remember, we already cut it so it's perfectly sized. Get on there. All right, so this little one, I'm just gonna give a really quick little seasoning to. Because we scored it, it's still gonna come up and penetrate the salmon. Into my 325-degree oven for about 45 minutes. You want to finish with about 135-degree Fahrenheit internal temperature, but you want to stop cooking it, pull it out at about 125, and then let it rest for 10 minutes. It's still gonna come up in internal temperature, okay? All right, so let me check the temperature. Again, I'm looking for 125 degrees Fahrenheit internal temperature. I always want to check in the thickest part of the fish. Perfect, 125 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to pull them out. Oh my gosh, they look so beautiful. I'm gonna let them rest right over here. Oh, stunning. Y'all, it smells so good in here between the citrus and the fresh herbs and that salmon and this cedar plank. I feel like I'm in the Pacific Northwest. It's fabulous. While I want to dive into this so badly, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to practice restraint and I'm going to let it rest for about 10 minutes. Wish me luck. I have to admit that was like the longest 10 minutes I have ever had to wait in my entire life, but it is going to be well worth it because I like serving this to my friends and family right on the board. I really think it's just such a beautiful presentation. I just cleaned up around the fish. That way, you know, I'm giving them the most lovely meal that I possibly can because food is love, right? We cook to nurture and to please. It's what we do. Enough of that. I want to put this in my face. So I'm going to first just show you the difference. Remember, this is the one that we did. We scored the bottom of it, but this one is one that we did without the skin underneath. So it's really going to penetrate through the board. Oh my gosh. What I love about this too is, you know, for your holidays, I mean, obviously you can have this anytime, but if you're serving this for the holidays, it's a great dish to serve before your main dish or to somebody for their main dish. It's just really special and decadent. Okay, right onto my plate. I'm just serving it here with some perfectly roasted asparagus, nice and bright. Oh, so flaky, so buttery. Oh my gosh. The citrus cedar plank salmon, total winner. If you want to impress your family and friends with something that's easy yet decadent, this is your meal right here. The Prairie Street Prime salmon is light but rich and super buttery. You saw I really didn't add hardly any other fat to it. So the olive oil was very light, very deft. I'm so glad that we kept the seasonings nice and light because there's no fishy flavor. It's just that pure salty salmon. It's delicious. I really hope that you're gonna give this a try at your next holiday, non-holiday dinner, or just for like a nice little date night. Check out the ingredients and the recipe below and make sure that you let us know how it worked out for you. Let us know how you like these cedar planks. They're so much fun to use and they're like an ingredient and a serving board all in themselves. We'll see you next week, next Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Can't wait.
Subscribe to our channel now and set your notifications so you don't miss our latest recipes and chef-led tutorials. Then head over to prairiestreetprime.com to shop for your next big meal.